Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. We are out here in the garage doing a little brake maintenance on the Sur-Ron. So the pads on this bike are pretty much worn out. They're about paper thin, and I'll show you guys whenever we take them out. And the fluid is pretty dark, but you can see the fluid in the front brake reservoir is pretty red still. The fluid in the rear brake reservoir is ready to be flushed. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and get you guys on the tripod, and we're gonna jump right into this. Let's go. Alright guys, so here is what we're going to need to change the brakes and bleed the system. So tool wise, you're going to need a 3mm Allen wrench and also a T10 Torx bit. You are also going to need a bleed kit. This one I got on Amazon. It was super cheap and it has all the fittings in it that you need and it works great. So I'll go ahead and link this in the description if you guys want to get the same one as me, along with some Shimano hydraulic mineral oil and the new Shimano disc brake pads. These are the H03Cs. I am just going to be replacing the rear in this video, but the front and rear calipers are literally the same. So the brake change for the rear works the same as the brake change for the front. And like I said before, I'll have everything linked in the description for you guys as well. Alright, so what's nice about these is you don't actually have to remove the caliper to take the pads out and change them. So all you're going to need to remove these pads is a 3mm Allen wrench. As you can see, there is a real tiny guide pin right here. Go ahead and loosen that up. Pull that guy out. Now, if you've never taken this guide pin out before, there'll be a little metal clip on the back side, like a little safety clip, to keep it in case it tries to back out. Just grab it with a pair of needle nose pliers and pull it off. They're kind of cheap. They don't really stay on all that well. Mine fell off in no time. As long as you make sure this guide pin's nice and tight, you shouldn't have a problem. But once you get that guide pin out, then you can pretty much just grab your brakes and pull up. As you can see, them Johns smoked. So like I said at the beginning, you do not have to remove this caliper to change the brakes. I am personally going to remove it just because there's a bunch of brake dust and grime all down and around the pistons, and my OCD is telling me to remove this and clean it before I install these new pads on it. So if that's something you want to do as well, totally feel free. You can literally see all that sparkly speck pad material all down in the pistons and just all over the place, and over time, if that stuff builds up, it starts working its way down in the seals of the pistons and whatnot, and that's how your brakes start going bad. That's why I like to keep all this stuff nice and clean. Looking nice, looking nice. Freshies. That's how much pad they're supposed to have. Alright, so if you're having some trouble pushing these pistons back in, if they're like stuck and they're not wanting to go, I'm having that issue because while my brake pads were pretty much gone, I rebled the system, and now the whole system's full of fluid, so now I'm trying to push it back out, and there's no room for it to go. So to fix that issue, you pretty much just bring your T10 up here to your master cylinder and remove the cap. Just make sure you wrap a towel around it or put a drain pan underneath it, because whenever you push those pistons back, whatever fluid is in here is going to spew over the edge. And with that being said, we should now be able to push these pistons in. Oh yeah, like butter. And whenever you guys are messing with your brake pistons, they should not be like stuck. You should not ever have to force anything. It should literally just butterly smooth push back in. Should be able to look through it and not see any pistons. And we're good to go. Get your new pads. Don't forget your little spring. Literally just sits in there in between the pads. When you get them together, they should look something like that. Almost like chopsticks. And you just slide them bad dudes in. Slide them down to your guide pin hole and throw the guide pin through. Tighten that guide pin down. Give the brake a squeeze to kind of line it up. And then drop your caliper bolts in. Alright, let's go ahead and bleed the system. Alright guys, so in this bleed kit, one of the main things you're going to need is a syringe with the right end on it, and this little funnel guy with the right end on it. Go ahead and pull my ends. I believe it's this one. So first things first, I'm actually going to go ahead and put this cap back on because it does not need to be off anymore. And then we need to work on getting this guy level. And I run my handbrake tilted down just a little bit. Whenever you bleed the brakes, you want to make sure that that's as level as can be. And then we'll go ahead and take our T10 and remove this bolt right here behind the reservoir. And it does have a little washer underneath it, so make sure you don't lose that. And then you need to go through that kit and find this fitting right here. This is the fitting that allows this bolt to pop in, but at the same time be screwed in right here. Then we're going to go ahead and put our funnel on. Don't forget to put the plunger in the funnel before you move to the next step. Before you move to the back, you want to go ahead and get your syringe set up with a hose and You also want to find this fitting right here. This is the fitting that screws into the caliper. So once you get all this set up, go ahead and get your brake fluid open or your mineral oil. Dip your hose down in there and start filling up the syringe. All the way full. And you want to flip it over and you want to let all the air get to the top. Maybe even push a little bit. It is going to leak a little fluid on you, but it's part of the job, man. Alright, there's no air left in there. And we'll move over to our caliper. There is a small 3mm screw, looks like a little set screw right here. This is what we're going to remove, and then we're going to quickly screw in our syringe. That is why I said don't forget to put your stopper up at the master, because if you unscrew this set screw right here in the caliper and you don't have that plunger in the funnel up on the top of the master, brake fluid will come pouring out of here. A little bit of brake fluid is going to come out, but nothing crazy. Just take you a towel and just kind of shove it in and around this area. That way you don't get any mineral oil on your rotor, because that's the last thing you want. Go ahead and break that guy loose and get that unscrewed, and then we'll go ahead and screw in our syringe. Just like that. Now that we got the syringe screwed in down there, we can pull the plunger out of the funnel up here, and then slowly start pushing the syringe. Start filling up the funnel, getting all the air bubbles out of the system and all that nasty old fluid. So I've pretty much pushed out about all the fluid in the syringe. What I'm gonna do is throw this plunger in here. Now that that plunger's in there, it's holding vacuum on the system. I can go down here, unscrew the syringe, fill it back up with fluid, and repeat the process. Now that we got the syringe screwed back in down at the bottom, we can go ahead and take this off, and I'm going to dump this old fluid out because it looks pretty nasty. Pop that guy back on there, and then we will send one more tube of mineral oil through, and she should be good. Also, it kind of helps to tap the handbrake while you're doing it. Tap the calipers, wiggle the lines, just to break up any other air bubbles that may be in there. Kind of do a couple hard pushes on the syringe. So we'll go ahead and put the plunger in the top when we're done. Get your set screw ready to be put back in. Disconnect your syringe, out with the fitting, in with the set screw. Make sure that's nice and tight. Wipe down any areas that may have got brake fluid on it. And then we'll move back up to the front. Now we can go ahead and make sure that stopper's in there, pull that guy out, and then remove our little fitting here. And before we put our set screw plug back in here, you want to take a little brake fluid and just kind of top it off. And the only reason I overflow that with fluid is so that way whenever I put this bolt back in there, I don't take a chance of trapping any air underneath the bolt. Like literally the threads are going down into fluid and it's all fluid. There's no chance of air getting underneath there. Go ahead and give that a little snug. After that, go ahead and wipe everything down real good. Also mount your lever back how you had it, the right angle. Alrighty guys, and just like that, she's all back together. Fresh bled system, fresh pads, ready to do some wheelies. This, my friends, is how your brake lever should feel. Like, right there, we're activating. Like, that's how it's supposed to feel. I should have showed you guys what it felt like before this, but I could easily pull it into the bar. Big difference for sure. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this little how-to video. Like I said earlier, everything I used in this video will be linked in the description below in case you guys want to do this yourself. It's a super easy process and literally only takes like 25-30 minutes. But without further ado, it's beautiful outside, so I'm going to go rip this puppy around. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I upload new content every Sunday and Thursday, and I hope to see you guys there. Till next time, peace out.
Bye, have a great time.